So basically what we're doing tonight is we are chatting about vegetation. This is definitely not a tutorial on how to do vegetation. I am going to be sharing a couple of my favorite parts to use. Also going to be opening up the floor a bit to discussing, like I said in the message, why certain vegetation would grow somewhere, why you would use certain colors in certain places, why you would use different colors of rock in different places. Okay, Richard says he can't join us anymore, so sorry, Richard. So I am going to switch the camera around and I'm going to give you guys a bit of a look. Okay, I seem to not be able to zoom on anything because of this background setting. So can I quickly, sorry guys, this was unforeseen. Let me just quickly go into settings and actually change this.
Relax, it's Friday evening. We have the whole weekend.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is like on the iPad. I know exactly how, but this is just, yeah, stop fingering the screen like that, Mr. Franz. Okay, let's just try it again. I'm going to see if I can do this. All right. So, I know there are lots of people who don't like the bushes. I am a fan in all the colors, for different types of landscape, for different seasons, for different areas. Is that blurring?
Yes.
Very artistic.
Very artistic. Thank you. I aim to please. Okay, I'm going to try to take that away and do that. See if that works. Oh, this is horrible. Okay. I am going to ask you guys, I am going to leave for a second and reconnect on my iPad because this is not working for me. Or just change the setting. Paul or Hilton, if you guys want to quickly just take the lead here, I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. Paul, any comments from your side, questions? There we go. Is that Ferdi?
Yeah, so I don't mind just putting this on, and I know this is what you guys really hate, so I'll show it with great pride. And that's the use of pine trees. And it's the context is actually not pine trees, right? But rather as shrubbery, because those are my real trees in the back here. And I think I need to add a bit more flavor and context in terms of some little greenery in between. But I actually really enjoy the texture that it created. It does look a little bit like little bushes and shrubbery, especially if you tie it in with these guys. I might actually add some of the other colors, but yeah. So maybe that's just an idea of what I have.
It looks great, but it does look a little one tone,
plasticky.
You know.
No, 100%.
Lego will always look plasticky, but if you could just maybe add some more color to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we land some in Lugbok. I can't remember now. I think we did.
Not necessarily a different color of an item, but add some different colors in there. So maybe find a different item.
Yeah, I want to show two quickly, which I've done. I'll just do this.
Cool.
Which
that's
is
nice.
No, which is just your, and Willie will show it now, but it's actually just a, let me just get it off here. Just your normal flip. Just to give some color variation. And then something else I was playing around with.
Some blommies, very cool.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just not your normal ones. I've actually stacked them on top of each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, you've got the white base at the bottom.
Yeah, and that's just your leaf. And you've got
that
different
is
colors.
nice.
I did these in white and pink, but if you do red and white as well, it will also work. And if you do various of
Actually,
these
you
next to
reminded
each
me
other.
now.
Sorry, Ferdi?
You reminded me now. Penny's actually very good at building the flower stuff. Let me see if I can't grab one of hers quickly.
Yeah, please.
Give me a second. Let me pull this out. So I don't know if that's going to work. So yeah, I think that the ideas with flowers and things is really to just fill it in more, right, and get more color going. And that really does work even for trees and leaves and bark and everything else. I do think that sometimes adding a little animal in between your greenery also just gives it a little bit more depth and makes it a bit more real. I saw that specifically with Joe's builds, and when he keeps adding a rat. That's always cool. So yeah. Of course, I won't have a piglet in a castle build. Well, maybe we will. Pigs eat pig.
Why not?
Why not?
Let
I
me
can
just
share this with you guys quickly.
Yeah, please.
let me just quickly see what's going on here. Somebody's waiting to join.
If you guys can see this.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of my previous builds. Took this little guy off just to please show this off and see what you guys think of this.
What you using as your stem there?
That guy.
Just move it slightly up so it's in the middle of the frame. Oh, there we go.
A little bit better.
Yeah.
See that better.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah. So that's the 5-prong, right?
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Those are I don't know. Are they new or are they old? I'm not quite sure. I think they're the new ones. The 5 prongs. The 3-prong and the 4-prong. That's the old one. Talking about those flower stems.
I think it's actually a 6-prong as well, but yeah, it is newer than most of the others.
There we
All
go.
right.
Thanks, Willie.
Okay. Okay. So I can only see this on the small screen. So yet again, another challenge. But anyway. All right, guys. So basically, well, like I said, I'm going to show you guys a couple of things that are my favorites. I know the bushes have a bad rap for always falling over. that was not planned. But anyway, I still enjoy them. I still enjoy using them. There are many things to do with them, everything from palm trees to showing the weather, which I will show you later. These are underutilized in my opinion most of the time. I know Tony is building a tree or trees from these at the moment, these spine pieces, or to be used as vines and roots and whatever you want to imagine using them for. Some fantasy flowers, of course. When you have the ability to turn them around and actually add a little flower bud or whatever you call that to it, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of the parts we don't use too often, but do break up the landscape quite nicely. And then, yes, that is a forest man's hat. We will speak about that just now. And then we've been using
Really?
these, yes,
Just a point on the blue one. They're
yes.
also available in green now.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Paul. What green is that?
Good question. It's in the friend set, so I haven't actually physically seen
Okay.
what color it is.
If it's in a friend set, it will probably then be lime green or the
Purple.
the other the light green. What do you call it? This one. Yeah, not the proper green. Okay, but cool. That's a nice one. Okay, so we've been using the. This is so hard with the iPad. We've been using these rods for trees. We've been using them for joining things, for branches, for vines, whatever you can think of. Lego has really, I think, given us quite a nice bit of color to work with in the last couple of years when it comes to flower stalks, the traditional old type that, you know, that go on a stud, and then the new ones that go inside an opening or an attachment point. The bamboo, and the what you see lying at the top there is a little hack. That is one of the bamboo leaf pieces, which I will show you in a little bit, how I've been using them. And then whips and sprues. Sprues we spoke about the other day, the idea of not throwing any of the plastic away. These are the sprues that the bigger 3-leaf plants come in. We'll check them out now. And then of course your different limbs and or limb pieces or leaves in different sizes. These are also commonly taken to only be leaves and trees, but they make for wonderful foliage and ground cover, especially for the fact that they have so many attachment points once you press them down. For those who have never noticed, when you look at the front part of the bigger leaf, that is of course the exact copy of the smaller leaf. So that is basically mirroring that piece to be attached on top of each other, if you wish. We also Paul using these very nicely in his swamp build a couple of years ago, Paul. That's the feather from the old Indian mini figure from the headpiece, which is available in green. Also used for many other things, but very nice in vegetation. And then the old potter plant, which we will look at as well now in different colors as well. And then our little frog foot that we have now been spoiled with so many colors to be used either in trees or on the ground, wherever you can. These are just commonly referred to as roots or stalks, but I don't know if anybody knows the actual name. If you want to share that with us, you're welcome. Different colors as well. I don't have all the colors here. And then the carrot tops make wonderful little attachment pieces. Also, the start of new flowers or plants. This was a beautiful addition to Lugbook a while ago. Can anybody remember? Paul, when was this? Was this last year that you picked this piece, or was it the year before?
Might have been last year, I think.
Must have been 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. 3 years ago.
Yeah, see, Fatty, that's the thing. Commonly, very like overlooked until you really look at what it can do, and especially now that it's available in brown. The way that we used to get flowers, we'll get to the new flowers now, and then some of these teeth pieces, that are very commonly overlooked for vegetation. And yes, those are radar dishes because that is a mushroom. And those are mushrooms for those who don't have a mushroom that look like that, the printed radar dish. Some of the older, bigger ones that you don't get these in sets anymore. You're lucky if you pick some up on Bricklink or so on. You do get the red one with the white specks or dots in the smaller version as an actual mushroom piece, which is very nice. And then let's move on to the side here. I thought it would be nice just to, Paul showed us some colors the other day, but these are my commonly used favorite greens. You got your olive green, dark green, lime green, normal green, light green, and your dark orange, dark red, dark brown, normal brown, and then nougat or dark flesh. And then of course the dark tan, light bluish gray, and dark bluish gray, which are also probably a castle builder's best friends. All right, so this is going to be tough to do with this big iPad in front of me, but anyway, here goes. Okay, so what I want to start off doing is I want to show you guys a quick just comparison between the old and the new flowers. And also you'll see on here some of my best friends, the cheese slopes in light bluish gray, dark bluish gray, and then the 1x1 round tiles and 1x1 round plates, which are lovely to use inside or around roads, around trees, wherever. I've got a little demonstration here. So flying blind here. So basically, if you look at what I have here, it's incredible to see how the color can be broken up by just literally adding the olive green stalk to it. If we go and add the little wedge plate, changes the whole contrast of it by just adding a little piece of rock. So to me, the first time I saw somebody do that very simple, I guess you can say, adding of parts, it was quite well, I was really intrigued. I was out to find wedge plates. I know they're hard to find, but to figure out how to break up color, to figure out how to break up texture. Of course, that could have been a little tile as well, whatever you want to do. Let's get back to this. So you'll see that what I have on here is basic cone pieces. The cone pieces serve as mushroom stalks. It is really easy to do this, but it's even better if you start using your different layers of, you see that it's just a 1x1 piece. What we're going to do is we're just going to make sure that the mushrooms don't all grow at the same height. Now, this is not hard to move towards each other and actually have some undergrowth and overgrowth of different pieces. I have taken some of the bigger leaves just to give you guys an idea of what can be done with one piece. Now, these are the 3-leaved flowers that we spoke about. Now, I am going to pick that up and show it to you a little closer. You see that everything from the starting of a flower budding or being in bloom in different areas to where you actually have the simplest 1x1 round plates used to show like the start of a flower, or that can be your flower in different areas, and then moving on towards something being in full bloom. It really is the simplest way to get a lot of different, I guess you can say, flower types without even having flowers. And then you will notice that there is one light green, 3-leaved plant in between everything, and just the way that that breaks up the green around it. All right, so we're going to move through this quite quickly. I mentioned the forest man's hat. I got to say, I stole this from somebody I know. Not stole, borrowing, giving him credit, Mr. Paul. So basically what you have here is you have a piece that was not made to use as vegetation, but we have made a nice plant that can go around a river. And what would you call that, Paul? What were you trying to build when you made this?
Some kind of lily, I suppose.
A lily. There we go. Yeah, I was going to say lily, then I thought I'd rather give it to the creator. So these forestman hats are not the easiest thing to get hold of, but they are available if you're willing to look for them. And very nice. You don't need a lot. You use them here and there. You don't have to get yourself 100. You only get a couple. And yeah, it's really, really nice. So let's move on to the bushes. We got, earlier I said it's nice to have the bushes can really help show the season. I've got some snow here on the dark green saturated ground, and you'll see that I have used some of the teeth pieces, literally just putting them inside the bush to show specks of snow on the bush. Of course, the snow around it gives it away, but yeah, I enjoy doing little details like that, and often people don't see them, but when they do, it really is nice. Okay, so here we go. All right, the bamboo. Many different ways to use the bamboo. I am getting a cramp in my hand from holding this iPad, but that's okay. We'll carry on. This is another piece we had in Lugbalk a little while ago. The fin or the sword piece makes lovely attachment point in that bamboo. You can use the newer stalks in there. Once again, the teeth piece. This one is of a more a yellowish green color that I've used here. The different flowers, of course, stacking them on top of each other. And then right there, you will notice that this bamboo piece actually has an extra leaf coming out the top, which, if taken out, if you do not like cutting up your Lego, then look away now. When getting rid of one of the leaves, it changes the way that the bamboo plant looks. I actually did this the first time when I was building a mountainside, and I had no way of fitting in that one bamboo plant that I really wanted to fit in, and I had to like get rid of one of the leaves, and I thought, hey, why not cut it off so that we can use it? I had learned from using the sprue as like many pieces. If you take the sprue and you cut it on one side and you stretch it out and straighten it out, they make wonderful vines going down trees and going down towers. It really is. This is one of my favorite pieces, and it's not an official piece. I don't even know. This is weird, but I wonder if do they number the sprue differently from the plant, or does anybody know, or is it just the plant that is a number?
Just be the plant because it comes from the same injection mold. So it's a mold number, right?
I believe so. Okay, so earlier I spoke of using leaves as ground cover. I'm going to show you that. Not put my hand in front of the lens. And then I am going to scoot over here to where I've used some of these little potter leaves. Where are we now? There we go. So the little potter leaf is very nicely attached inside the leaf to go on the ground. And if you duplicate enough of it, then you are pretty much left with ground cover that is very hard to recreate when you don't have all those attachment points. And you guys will see that there are some flowers in here. So some of these attachment points have been used for stalks. Some of the attachment points have been used for the vines or the spines, actually. It's just, it's so much fun doing vegetation, because in the end, if you're in a fantasy landscape, you pretty much have the freedom to create your whatever you want to create with your fantasy landscape. But also, if you want to landscape with the rules of or the questions we've been asking, what, why, where, when, there are so many options and colors to choose from to use. So before we go into any specifics about seasons or areas, oh, one last thing that I forgot: the use of dark green to me, and this is something that I wanted to mention. The use of dark green to me is not only to break up green, but also to show shadow. I really like the idea of shadows being shown in landscape, especially when you have a lot of dense vegetation. Very often you will have a darker texture or darker color underneath rather than texture. But yes. All right. So before we move on to anything specific, any questions, any comments, anything anybody want to add? Because we are all for adding ideas and helping each other out.
Just a comment on your little 3-leaf bamboo piece.
Yes.
If you don't want to cut it, just wait. Eventually one will break. It is inevitable. They break. And then you can play with the pieces, but don't throw them away. They're useful once they're broken.
Yeah. I think what we've learned here is that we don't throw anything away. We gotta, you can use whatever you have. I'm just gonna flip the video again just to have this in the shot. These are probably one of the pieces that I think we mentioned again the other day, that you should not really be scared to cut. We use these in different sizes and different lengths all the time, and it just makes a lot of the building easier, but it also helps when you're looking at the height of the trees that you can build with these, that we had at Brick Fair Cup 2 years ago, but also in other ways that we will show at a later stage. Okay, all right. Anybody else want to add anything?
The use of these little brown jobbies for actually creating tree trunks, if you start weaving them together, I think that's got some serious potential there.
That is a very nice piece. I actually like that piece a lot, Ferdi. You have reminded me that I have actually left out something that is probably one of my favorite pieces to use that we got in bulk a couple of years ago, and bought thousands of, only to be left with almost
Someone
nothing.
just
Where are we? That is, can you guys see that? Mr. Droid arm. There was a time that people were building trees with these as well. Thousands and thousands to build a tree. But anyway, so lots of trees being built with these at one stage, and now to weave them together, actually clip them into each other to make vines on roofs and in trees. Very, very nice. All right. Okay, anybody else? Nobody got anything to share?
If I can find a picture, I will share something. I don't even know if I... Let me share this quickly. Who's disabled sharing? The host disabled participant screen sharing. Hilton Strauss.
Hilton
it.
Strauss, come on.
Fixed
He
it.
fixed it.
So talking about the bushes with adding pieces to it. Yeah, I cut one of those tubes and I placed little ends on a bush just to show bulrushes, because it's not always too easy to create bulrushes in Lego. So that's an example of that.
Very nice. Do you have, that is your swamp that I was referring to. Do you have any like footage of where you used that feather piece in the swamp there? Do you have a pic?
I do. Let me share again. Okay, so there's a bit of a better pic of the bulrush, but there's where I used the feather pieces and the lilies.
Okay.
Blurry pictures, but
That's the
think
fez
that's-
piece, right, Paul?
yeah,
That you have the lily put in there.
yeah,
Or
it looks a lot more like a arum lily, or
yeah.
it's taller.
Okay. Very nice. Also the use of the egg, of course, another piece that we like using.
Mushrooms.
That we can, yes, I did not share all the different types of mushrooms that we have spoken about in the last couple of years. I thought we would save that for another time. Okay, so basically, guys, what after showing all these different pieces, there really is no reason or let's say no shortage of piece to use when you are trying to show a certain area or trying to show uh, uh, a certain season or what you might call whatever. The question you always got to ask yourself is, would that be growing there? If you are not going over the fantasy a waterfall here, and just deciding that this is your your area, and this is what it's going to look like. My trees are going to be purple, and the mushrooms are going to be red, and whatever. The stalks will be no stalks at all. They'll just be bone pieces. Whatever you want to do, but if you're trying to recreate a certain area or trying to recreate a certain season, try and think what would be happening in that area. If you look at the little river piece that I showed earlier, I had the dark bluish gray rock pieces in there, or cheese slopes in there, because those would be wet. That's a flowing river to me. The water would have gone over those, and they would be wet. They would not be dry. In that area, I will have dry and wet rock. And the little bubbles or the 1x1 pieces are not just put randomly everywhere. They are put where the water will be gushing, or where there will be a little bit of a what do you call it, foam or movement against the rocks. So thinking about everything you're doing with the vegetation, if you look at something like a mushroom and where the mushrooms would be growing, this is something I used to do. I would just do vegetation and literally just put everything down and have absolutely no idea why I was doing it. Also learned a lot from a lot of nice people, as to why would you have a mushroom there? It's like the middle of the road. That mushroom would have been trodden on already, or it would have been kicked or whatever. To have mushrooms grow around trees or around rock, or have certain types of flowers in your landscape be around certain areas, like your like I had in one landscape, I had yellow flowers growing all around all the places where there was rock, where there was a rock formation coming out of the ground. I would have these little yellow flowers, and it was very noticeable. So the little yellow flowers only grew around rock. If you can go into that type of thought process, then your landscape can have not only uniformity but kind of consistency, and it's much easier to show certain areas. We've spoken about the idea of a road and what happens on a road, the travel that takes place on there, the feet, the wagons, the mud that forms around wetter pieces of the road, or wetter areas of the road closer to like water, or where it crosses a stream or something. If you had a bridge there, would there be shade and damp under the bridge? Would there be space or place for mushrooms to grow? Would the vegetation be more lush because not a lot of people walk there? Would there be a little path down to the river next to the bridge because, I don't know, kids are always hunting for frogs? I don't know. It's up to you to make those kind of calls on your own landscape. But again, which flowers will be growing where? If you have trees, how big would the trees, how big would the shadow be that the tree casts, and what would happen in that area around it? Would there be grass there, or would there be like dead grass there? If snow falls, where would the snow settle, and where would the snow already be melted? If you have a rooftop with snow on it, which parts will melt early first? And it's basically just thinking ahead, or thinking about the obvious things that we often don't think about while we're building. You know, if I built a house, will there be, and there is a crack in the wall somewhere, might there be a weed growing out of it? You know, whatever you can think of, and however you wanna start livening up your landscapes around your roads and around your rivers, and you know, around your buildings and around your trees. As we said a couple of weeks ago, make sure you don't build this incredible cart or this incredible house or tower, and then you have like nothing around it. Start working from one space. I once heard somebody say, you know, have your water source first, and then everything happens around the water. You can say the same about a road, I guess, and the same about a building, whatever is your focal point. And then you know, take it from there. So I'm gonna open up the floor. Anybody who wants to share anything, anybody who wants to ask anything, throw the question out, throw your, you know, whatever you want to say out, and then we can all chat about it. All right, go for it. Who wants? Is there anybody here?
Paul, so I think I've added some stuff to the build. I don't know if that was what you had in mind. You said I had to add a bit more color and a bit more texture. Different color bushes, some flowers. I don't know. There's a mushroom under the tree, I promise. There we go. It's a hot dog mushroom. But that will work.
It works. It works.
It works. Yes.
Yeah. And I've followed your advice now and made sure that the yellow flowers are only the flowers that are actually on a leaf, and that the white flowers inverted are the ones that are the one texture. So yeah, I think that actually looks better. Thanks for that advice to not make it all look very monotonous, very plastic green. So,
Yeah, it's actually changed it quite nicely.
Yeah, no, I must say, that's maybe a bit too dead. Maybe one of them, not. Maybe it was infected woods. Who knows? But I suppose there's a story for everything. The vine tree. I mean, I must probably fix this still, but I mean, that was my first attempt at trying to do a vine tree, a little baby vine tree, where you use these little doodads. But it's all fun and games. I must say, I do like the idea of adding little animals, little hedgehog, monkey. I mean, that all works. Yeah, huge fun.
Looking good.
Yeah, animals are wonderful. I love adding animals and adding the little rodents, and you know, again, I think we are spoiled silly with the options we have these days, since we now have elephants and sheep and you name it, to use as well. I guess the thing is to use them wisely, and and make sure your elephants don't walk down your footpath where your house is, unless they're being ridden, I guess.
It's always nice to try tell a story with your animal and just not pop him down. You know, tell a story like a hedgehog could be coming out of a little hole in the mountain where that's his home, and etc. etc.
The problem that I've got with small animals and a boat in more or less the same scene, it all looks like Noah's Ark, and all of them trying to get onto the boat to get the hell out of here. So
is that Noah's
I need to figure out how. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he are. So I mean, I think the one thing I do need to figure out is doing these things at angles, right? Because then they will look a hell of a lot better than everything that's so linear.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
so if you want to do that at an angle, Fadi, the 2x2 jumper. Do you even call it a jumper if it's a 2x2?
I think I know what you're talking about. The one with the round edge.
You know, these ones here I'm showing you. These little
Oh yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
these and the jumper combined with tiles actually give you the ability to attach and turn at an angle. Any stud you can elevate and have a tile under its back legs. Gives you the ability to elevate. There was a time that Tony shared a lovely little index. Sure, it was a couple of years ago with that showed you the exact like measurements. Yeah, now if you put a tile down under his feet there, then you got it.
Yeah.
It showed you the exact like stud difference, I guess, ratio, yes, but like where you had to put certain studs to like put a whole new area at a different angle. I know I used it to put houses down on landscapes quite a few times, and that really helps. But you can figure it out. It's not that hard. Where you literally tile an area and then you have two or three or actually two studs that are that are sticking out, and you can attach to those at any angle and just tile all around it where the edges are. So it's all it's all legal. What is legal?
It's actually kind of what I did on the road, right? Is because I use these little jumpers everywhere. I mean,
yeah.
Actually,
there you go.
What the hell? This pig's weird. I actually only got the green ones in recently, so yeah, that can definitely work.
I think the pig you can attach by his hind legs. There should be a bigger hole there.
He likes the fact that it's just weird. It's a pig.
Pig wants to roll around. Ask Paul about pigs that are on their side. Hey, Paul. This pig has fallen over. Can I pick him up for you? No, the pig is on his side. He's
lying in the mud.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
That's precious. Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's lekker.
So yeah. Other than that, I'd love to see what you guys can come up with around your rivers and around your roads, because when you start putting vegetation on a build and not just having that flat green piece there, it makes an incredible difference. It brings everything to life. It does. All of a sudden you've broken this flat ground. You've broken the area around certain parts of your landscape. I had a very nice conversation with Rian this week about contours on the landscape as well, and I thought I was going to forget this, but I might as well say it quickly. We've been talking about contours as well, and height differences in the landscape. What I found, because I don't use LDD, I often just start building, and then I realize, oh my goodness, okay, I've made all these beautiful contours, and now I have nowhere to put my tree. Because there are no flat pieces left. So I've had to bring myself to plan before I start doing contours where I would put a tree, if I want to do like a bigger tree and actually have a flatter area that is not too contoured, and leave it open. Or if I want to put a house, then leave space for the house, know what size my house is going to be or my building is going to be. And before you do too much, because I know, Fadi, you've mentioned you don't use any of the programs either. You just go for it and build. Be careful to do too much and then be left with like problems that you have to go rectify, and then you do end up with broken fingers and cracked nails and and you've gone down to your last brick separator Yeah. So all right. Did we speak
maybe
about?
one thing to ask.
Yes, go for it.
These at one point we were saying that we wanted to have these single tree, at least in each build, to have a size reference. Is this still the case? Do we still want
Yes.
to try and keep that as fact formals?
I think, and Paul can chip in here if he wants. But I think we will definitely keep that type of tree as a type of tree. We will remember there are many different types of trees that grow in a landscape, and to have that type of tree grow over everybody's landscape in certain areas will be great. I'm sure there are a lot of guys who want to design their own trees. I know I am currently playing with some designs as well. Yeah, Paul, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's nice to have something that kind of ties everything together. So if we all have one or two of that type of tree, but like Billy says, there are many different types of trees. There's lots of tutorials all over the net on how to build trees, and also you can design your own tree. You don't have to go with someone else's design. But it is always nice to stick to types of trees. Similar trees tend to grow together. Their seeds don't fall too far from each other, so you would tend to have a little group of one type of tree and then another type of tree. You don't generally find forests with 50 different types of trees. There might be just 2 or 3 types in little groups.
Okay, no, that's cool. So maybe just for the new guys, I don't know who's new here. Maybe Richard, and I can't remember if Ken knows about it. But I mean, just to get some of these going and to at least have a few leaves on them, make the statement again somewhere in the future for consistency across builds.
No, definitely. That's a good point. Also, to actually bunch those up quite close to each other makes a very nice little, wooded area. And if you find it hard to make them stand upright when you put too many leaves on them, and when you start, putting leaves on the leaves, then I found that putting them in little bunches of 3 in a triangle, and then actually clicking the leaves into each other works very nicely to have them stand up. And Ferdi, I did those trees a little while ago, and actually had this little Potter 3-leaf stalk that I showed earlier, that I put inside the leaves on the ground under them, and it looked very nice. The idea of foliage underneath the trees and creating paths and stuff. So play with everything on the ground as well. Go for it.
Oh,
so
that makes sense. And then are we going to stick with flesh color for figures, or we are going to be okay this year for the yellow figurines?
Paul, you want to take this one?
Since you're talking about standards.
No, we've always kind of had the flesh, or rather, let's say it like this: we've always kind of done. You can do anything, but we've tended to stay like in colors other than yellow. Not saying that that you can't have a yellow, well, how do you say it? Tribe with yellow colored skin running around somewhere in your kingdom. But I think it came from using a lot of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit figurines, Star Wars, and so on. They gave you wonderful torsos and legs and headpieces and a lot of animated faces and things. And those sets were not done in the Lego yellow. But I
The
promise you
original
that guy,
dude
yeah,
is that is the original Castle dude. So.
yeah, we won't chase him out of the kingdom. Don't worry.
Okay,
He's more than
Okay.
welcome. You know, he can come in. He just can't stay. He can go through the.
There we go.
kingdom.
Yeah.
No. He's there's nothing that's stopping you from using that. We've just tended to gravitate towards. We've tended to gravitate towards the flesh colors because, like I said, of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit figurines, and there are different tones of flesh color as well. We call them flesh just because they're not yellow, but you know, there are I mean, all the different figurines from a Frodo to a Lando Calrissian to you know, to some of the old Prince of Persia. You know, tribes that they had and ethnic groups that they had. So go for it. You can go purple and blue if you want. You know, there are many Star Wars characters that were done in green and purple and blue. Go for it. You know, there's nothing stopping you. It's a fantasy landscape.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. One thing we won't have is that the bareback horse riding. What is that?
That's actually a Prince of Persia, right?
Yeah, get him a shirt, man. Come on.
That's the that's the ostrich set. I think.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, he can dress up in ostrich feathers for next time.
Look, just because he's got a six pack, doesn't mean.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, is there anything else? Anybody else wanted us to have a chat on? Any questions for anybody? Comments? Paulie, anything that you wanted to share or add to the vegetation discussion?
No, I think for me it's always been the most important is the why. Why is
Yes.
it there? But other than that, I think you've covered most of it.
Yeah. So why is it there? How did it get there? Why isn't it there as well?
Yeah.
I guess we often have to ask, why isn't it there? You know, you just had a wagon go over there, but like, you know, the flowers are still standing upright. Anyway, okay. I think that's it then. Unless we wanna go on to anything else or share anything else. Nothing I missed. I see Paul has
What's the homework?
shared some.
What's the homework?
There we go. Okay, Paul has shared the diagonal connections on the WhatsApp group. That's a nice one. Thank you, Paul. And then Ferdi,
What's the homework?
Well, we've done roads, we've done rivers, we've done vegetation, and I think for next week we'd love to see some vegetation, whether it be just, you know, around a tree or whether it be around your road or your river. If you want to attach what you've done already, and bring that to the party. Yes. So do some vegetation for us and see how interesting you can make it. We're always looking to find new ideas of how to use pieces, how to use parts. Yeah, come and entertain us. Otherwise, I've given you guys a lot of different parts to work with, and just have fun with that, and see if you can do it with a why is it there, and you know, should it be there, and just create some consistency across the landscape. Never being 100% consistent, of course, because you know, nature is not always going to be perfect and one color, and the same in every square meter. So you never knew what happened in an area. There might have been a fire there or whatever. So yeah, I think that's it from my side. Is there anything unclear about what I have asked you to do? Nothing. All right. Hilton's happy. Fadi, do you know what I want you to do?
Yes, rip it all up and start from the scratch again. Thanks, man.
No, don't worry. It's always Christmas somewhere. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
You know, if you have if you have enough Christmas trees, you're more than likely gonna get a present soon. But
There we go.
yeah. All right. I think I'm gonna call this then. Hilton, you want to add anything before we go?
No, just again, thank you for everybody. I will share the YouTube link on the WhatsApp group as well. If you want to click on it there. And then we'll probably upload this week's video that we did tonight during next week, early next week. That's it.
Cool stuff.
Thank you.
All right. For everybody that is still
Thanks,
awake,
guys.
that is on here. Thanks, Frans. Thanks, Fadi.
Thanks, everybody. Have a safe evening. Stay safe.
You too. Thanks,
Same to
everyone.
you. Stay